Welcome to our last lesson for this unit on Introduction to Algebra. It's 10.4, and you can see what we're talking about today is when we have things in brackets with algebra, right? Kind of an interesting concept. So let's start with this warm-up question here first. It says you're framing a picture for your picture. You want a picture to have a 4 centimeter wide border, which means if this were the frame, it would be 4 centimeters wide all the way around. Now, the perimeter of the frame is 600 centimeters. Remember, perimeter is the distance around something. You want to know how long is each side of the picture before putting the border on it. Now, you need to come up with your own equation here. Now, this has been probably the most challenging part for a lot of people in this unit, right, is coming up with the equation. So we should have a let statement. So let's say let x represent the length, right? So this is the x right here, right? And we're going to assume that this is a perfect square, right? Even though the picture doesn't look exactly like it. So this would be x, this would be x. They're all the same. Now, I know that the perimeter is 600. So usually when they give you a statement like that, it's going to be 600 equals something. Now I also know that the formula for perimeter would be side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3 plus side 4. And if they're all the same, it would be 4 sides, right? Now in this case, one side is x, and then there's 4, and there's another 4, right? So one side is x plus 8, and I got 4 of them. So that's your equation. Okay, so what we're going to learn how to do today is how are you going to solve for x when it's inside these brackets. All right, so 2 methods. Method number 1, right? We're going to divide first. So remember we've been talking about Sam, Deb, like this. Now, it's kind of like a bit different to Sam, Deb. We're going to just jump to the division section. So in this particular case, when there's brackets, SAMDEP doesn't really apply. I want to get s by itself, right? I'm trying to isolate the variable. Right now, this means 4 times everything in that bracket. So, opposite to multiplication is division. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. Right? Check that out. So when you divide both sides by 4, it's pretty great because these 4's cancel. So I'm left with s plus 8. 600 divided by 4 is 150. That seems okay, right? Subtract 8 from both sides, right? Those cancel. S equals 142. Okay? So that's how we take care of those brackets, right? We get rid of the brackets, right? We don't want those brackets there. To do it, we divide. So that's one type, right? It's called the division model, when you divide first. So, let's take a look down here. We'll do one more example together, and then I'll leave you with some. Right? It says isolate the variable on one side of this equal sign by dividing everything by the, it says A, minus 4, right? A is referring to this A right here. But here we're talking about dividing everything by negative 4. So divide by negative 4 on the left, divide by negative 4 on the right, keeping that balance equal. Those guys cancel, right? So you're left with x minus 7, and on the right, 16 divided by negative 4, negative 4. Right? That seems pretty okay. So what you're going to do next is, add 7 to both sides. So these cancel, right? You've got your 0 pair. X equals negative 4 plus 7, or positive 3. Okay. Why don't you pause the video now, try these 2 on your own, and they'll be posted in the answer key on tomorrow's lesson. Oops, there is my pause button. Yep. Okay, welcome back. So, this is the second page and the second method. So this is called the distributive property, right? Or a lot of times it's talking about going fishing, right? Or the fishing method, which is kind of just the fun way, right? So we're going to go fishing. Now again, same thing as always, we want to isolate the s, or the variable, or whatever it happens to be. So if I'm going fishing, or distributive property, I'm going to take that 4 and multiply it by everything in the bracket. So 4 times s is 4 s's. right? 4 times 8 is 32, right? So that equals 600, and look at that, brackets are gone. So it's the same result, right? You just don't want the brackets there, but a couple different ways to go about it. So now we're back to a two-step problem, right? You get rid of that 32, or subtract 32 from both sides, right? Here's your zero pair, it cancels out. 4s equals 568. Okay, next we need to break that 4 away from the s, so opposite operation to multiplication, divide both sides by 4, right? They cancel, s equals 142. You'll get the same answer both ways. So choose your method, your choice completely. Okay, let's try another one. So same thing, I'm going to do the distributive method. I'm going to go fishing, cast my fishing line into the ocean. Negative 4 times x, negative 4x. All right, let's do it again. Negative 4 times negative 7, positive 28. So watch those negatives. They are tricky. All right. So then what we're going to do is subtract 28 from both sides. Minus 28, minus 28. Zero pair cancels out. So negative x, 4x rather, equals 16 minus 28, negative 12. And divide both sides by negative 4. Okay? So we're laughing. X equals a negative dividing the negative is positive. 12 divided by 4 is 3. X equals 3. Okay, so please try the distributive method for the following two. Pause the video and you can check your answers on the answer key. Okay, welcome back. Let's try the word problem here. So it says, the amount of food energy per day by hikers is multiplied by the equation E equals negative 23 bracket T minus 122. So I'm going to write that again down here. E equals negative 123 bracket T minus 122. Right, now E is the amount of food energy. That makes sense. And T is the temperature. That makes sense. So let's look at A. A says, the outside temperature is negative 20 degrees Celsius. How much food energy is required per day? So what we're going to do is we know the temperature. So rather than writing T, I'm just going to insert negative 20. So E is going to be negative 123, negative 20 minus 122. Okay, well, this is great, right? I've got E all by itself. It's isolated. So I'm just going to go through and do bed mass, right? Solve what's in the brackets first. And I'm laughing. 123 negative. So this would be negative 142. So I'm going to multiply. Let me grab my calculator here. I'm going to multiply 142, and that's a negative, times 123. That's also a negative. So my answer is, energy is 17,466. So my concluding statement is that energy is 17,466 units are important, kilojoules. Okay, so that's A. Right, a little bit different, but pretty practical. Let's look at B. B says, if a hiker consumes, this time they give us the energy, 19,000 kilojoules of food, we want to find the temp. So rather than writing E, we'll write in 19,000 equals negative 123 bracket T minus 122. So this is the new stuff. Now I'm going to use the distributed method or the fishing method, right? Because I kind of like that one. So, right, the left side stays the same, 19,000, and then let's go fishing, right? So negative 123T, and then I'm going to go negative 123 times negative 122. That's a calculator question for me. 123 times 122 is positive, let's change colors, 15,006. Okay, so I'm isolating for T. I'm going to subtract 15,006 from both sides. Okay, so there's your zero pair. They cancel out. Let me get my calculator again. 19,000 minus 15,006 equals, we've got 3,994 on the left and negative 123 T's on the right. Divide, right, opposite operation, both sides by negative 123. Divide by negative 123. And our answer here, we've got a decimal answer, which that's okay with temperatures, right? So it looks like negative 32 degrees Celsius is our temperature. Pretty cool. Sounds like Ontario. So we're going to say the temperature is negative 32 degrees Celsius. All right. So let's take out the third page here. Page number 3. Oh, one sec. Let me find my page number 3. Okay. So this is dealing with a model. Now, some of your textbook questions talk about models. Remember that the variables, right, are usually the long green tiles. The positives are red squares, and then the negative are those white squares. So this one, if we've got 2, 3 plus p, so there's 1, 2, 3, and a p. We've got 2 of those, right? 1, 2, 3, and a p. That equals 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Something like that. So, right, why don't you pause the video and see if you can solve this one. Okay, welcome back. So you can see the solution on the left there, right? Let's take a little minute and look at the question on the right. So you've had questions like this before, where it says x equals negative 9, and they want to know, is that the solution? Or the same thing as, is that the answer? Right? So it's kind of like the checks that we've talked about. If you were doing a check here, right, this would be your left side. You want it to equal your right side. So if they're equal, right, and they're on that balance and they're totally level, right, then the answer would be yes, it is a solution. So let's substitute it in. So we got 66 over here. We're going to say negative 9 plus 7. Okay? So let's see, 66, 6 bracket, negative 9 plus 7 is negative 2. It's not looking good. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. They are not equal, so the answer is no, right? It is not the solution. All right, last question. Right, it says each side of a rectangular octagon is decreased by 3 centimeters. So if the perimeter of the new octagon is 48 centimeters, what was the measure of each side of the original octagon? Good question. This one is for you. Okay, good luck, and we'll see you in class.